Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to this price ladder debrief. It is Tuesday, 16th of May. I hope we've all had a good day's trading. Let's get straight on into the debrief. Today I'm going to be bringing you guys a reversal momentum play in the Bund, but I'm also going to be kind of bringing a sort of technical trade alongside a fundamental trade, and just to give you guys an idea as to how I use the two factors in executing my trades, and how they can be really useful when you have both of them lining up together at the same time. So let's get into the technicals. Firstly, let me apologize for all the writing across this chart. It was just the easiest one I could find in regards to the setup. So basically, what I'm going to be looking at to you guys today is the Saxony CPI number from Thursday, the 27th of April, so around about a month ago. And it can be seen here in this area here that I have circled on the chart. And basically, something that I like in terms of a trade and a structural setup is when you have an open drive and, say, a gap as well in regards to a previous day. We've gapped lower and open driven lower, and you had a few poorly auctioned areas up here towards yesterday's high, and some of these swings in here were badly auctioned. So basically, for me, as a technical trade, this is already lining up, but you need to kind of know where it's validated from. And especially with this open drive trade, as it's not as good as it used to be in terms of probability. So for me, on the Saxony CPI number, as you can see here, we had a year-on-year release of 2.1% versus the 1.8% prior. So you get the initial blip down in terms of a positive reading in the longer end data. But you can see we had quite a bad miss on the month-on-month, minus 0.1 against the prior. So basically, for me, as a fundamental trade, there's going to be, mostly algos are going to hit the initial number they see on the screen dump, and then any other locals who smack it on the first thing they see, and then you're going to get a potential rotation higher after that. In regards to the structure as well, it all lines up really nicely. So as you can see here, I've got written down here was the day before's VPOC. So for me, you need to kind of see, you kind of have two reactions at VPOC. You kind of either have, if this is the VPOC here, you either get a knife through and sort of reversal, or you get a knife through, a retest and go, or you don't even get a retest. So for me, you kind of have a clear area in terms of where you may see aggressive buyers step in, but you also see an area where you can kind of be, you have your clear line of the sand, per se, so you can kind of, define your risk. So when you see something like this line up in regards to structure, you can kind of be passive, you can be passive early on, and then you can kind of add in. And what I want to show you guys is kind of how I trade this move up, and this was also the day of ECB. So for me, I really like this trade more than, say, the actual ECB moves. I mean, the ECB moves are good, as you can see, but as an actual technical and price action trade, it just goes to always, make sure you come in and be ready for these trades, because they are there even on days such as ECB. But other than that, let's get into the ladders. So, like I said, guys, it's a reversal momentum trade. It is an open drive / fundamental reversal trade. The actual trade type, it's a momentum trade in its execution, its trading strategy. And to be honest with you, I don't like to see this other than a sort of high to medium velocity ladder environment. I don't really want to see low auctioning speed. I kind of want to see two-way trade. I want to, I want to have a fundamental reason as well alongside the structure and the price action. Don't get me wrong. If they were both huge beats on the month-on-month and year-on-year, this trade, I wouldn't be fighting for this trade to try and get into it. It's I have a 3 to 5 tick risk management, and as we kind of go through the ladder replay, I'll explain to you how I manage my trades and how I scale in and out. And the reward management is always, guys, level dependent. So, but in terms of a few levels I want to keep an eye on for you guys, we have the initial balance low we break back into, which comes in at 05s. And then we have the actual open drive high, comes in at 25s. So the ladder on the left is going to be the initial spike down and reversal. And then the ladder on the right here is I just want to show you guys how I then trade afterwards. In once we take out that open drive high at 25, how I then get aggressive and targeting up towards the previous day's highs around 34s, and they pull the auctioned areas above that. So that's how I just want to kind of break it down for you guys. So as you can see, the numbers just about to be released. So as we see, the numbers just come out, all the algos smash the number, and then you instantly see, I don't know if you guys saw that, but at the three lowest price of the day, we just had 1,500 lots absorbed at the low, and then notice the reload instantly and how I'm hovering on the bid. So I've seen the number, and I already know that this is a number that I want to buy and potential for reversal. So you're seeing someone absorb prices down here between 04s and 07s. I mean, you're seeing size trade, but you're also seeing big clips lift as well. And then at the lowest price of the day, only 21 lots are trading. Someone lifts 173 lots, reloads the bid. And now you're seeing the clips down and kind of slow down a little bit. So we're seeing someone now we're seeing aggressive clips down again. And then notice the instant reload. So again, between 07s and 04s, we've seen someone absorb, over 4,000 contracts. And again, you're seeing someone lift 250, reload the bid. And now I've been with these numbers, guys, as well. And you can see instantly how we just someone lift. Again, at those two prices, someone's lifted the 300 contracts and reloaded the bid twice. So for me, I'm willing to pay up 2s and pay up, 5s and 6s. And as you can see, the kind of bid then gets away from me. You have that initial balance low coming in at 05s, and that's where I wanted to start passively buying. You know what I mean? I could start passively getting in on this trade, and then in anticipation to add through the balance, through the IB. So now I'm willing to pay up 12s after seeing such a strong reaction off the lows there. And something with these fundamental numbers, guys, that I seem to find as well. We had a low at 03s, 04s, and then you had that one last down tick, and we trade 67 lots. So that's kind of like a lot of the times we may kind of say, if you're someone who say just buys a number instantly after you see the numbers. For me, like, it's kind of, that's where you need to see the price action trade out and understand where the actual buying comes in and where the sellers tire out. So now, I mean, I haven't got the best position where I've just been filled, if I'm being totally honest with you, after not getting filled between 4s and 5s. So for me now, it's just about trying to understand. Like I said, I'm only passively buying. I haven't bought my full clip. I'm just kind of trying to scale out. I'm just trying to passively position myself in anticipation of a trade that may work. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm kind of wary of this rolling over. If we have to kind of bear in mind we have open driven, we have failed to fill the gap. It's not technically, it's not very bullish. So you're kind of taking like quite a contrarian trade at this point. So for me, I'm kind of willing to just understand how we're trading in this area. So I just seen someone down tick 10s and aggressively lift 11s and 12s. So I'm someone who's willing to kind of absorb lower prices and then get aggressive. So anything between, I don't really want to see price kind of offer back down below 9s. This kind of area of volume. You see how we're just starting to generate a bit of volume between these prices here. I don't really want to see the market drive away from here. We're starting to kind of accept value back inside the IB. And I want to see, as long as someone's willing to accumulate and sit here, then I'm happy. I mean, it's not a very comfortable trade to sit in, don't get me wrong, and I don't scale in and out perfectly throughout this trade. But as you can see here, I'm willing to buy passively initially and then kind of scale into my trade once I kind of see more price action to confirm what I'm potentially looking for. So again, notice this is what I want to kind of get across to you guys, because you see the offer kind of flutter down a few times, but nothing really hits it. So again, there you see like 112 lots trading to 11s, and it went offered. As long as this bid reloads, I'm happy to sit in the trade. I mean, it's not comfortable and it's kind of nasty in terms of the way it trades in here, but you've seen how it traded down here, and it's kind of rejected so strongly. So I mean, like you say, you scale out 9s, 8s, 7s of your clip, and anticipation of, so you say start scaling out around the midpoint, and then as you take out some swings, and then you want to add back up towards the highs. So for me now, I'm just like I'm saying, it's kind of the auctioning's just died down for a second. We've seen someone aggressively lift 10s and 11s after down ticking 9. So again, you see how we go offered there on nothing, and we have a really weak reload on the offer. Look how nothing's on the offer there. It's just like it's not very intimidating when you feel like that. And then so you see again, someone's down ticking. And now someone's a bit more aggressive, so someone's just sold 200 lots into 10s now. And then we're seeing the down tick into 9s. Like I said, guys, you shouldn't really be getting out before 9s. Someone's just lifted another 200 contracts at 10s, and I've just puked I've just puked unnecessarily there. And then you see they downtick the 9s, lift the 10s, lift the 11s aggressively. So the guy who was here, who was sitting between 10s and 11s, is still here. Notice the aggressive lift at 11s and the reload. Once we can kind of get above these 12s, it's just the fact that I'm having to lift the highest price of this kind of mini block, and I'm sort of waiting for the initiative buyer to really step in. So as you see now, once we get the 12s, we've just 130 lots traded at 12s when we reload the bid, and the offer gets pulled. Okay, and then you see now we're starting to downtick the 12s, aggressively lift the 13s, 111 lots trade 13s, and notice the reload, guys. So any kind of size now trading back down into 12s, down into 13s. You want to see this bid now get tested. If this is like you see, you're now saying 230 lots lift, 112 lots just lift, 164 lifts just lifts, all in a really quick succession just there. So you want to now see the bid be tested in here. If this trade is going to work out to take these 25s, and I want to then sort of add in as we start to rotate higher. So we've just seen 162 lots trade into 15s, 137 lots trade into 14s. So this kind of price action, I'm not wary of it. This is what I want to see. I want to see size trade down into the bid. And now we saw someone lifts 400 lots after being clipped into 14s. So, if you want to be really aggressive after just seeing this move, you may start lifting 15s, and then, start lifting 16s as well if you start to reload 15s. So at the moment, I'm feeling comfortable in this trade. Now that I'm on side, and I'm seeing price action that kind of suits the structure. So again, someone's aggressively lifting 444 lots into 15s at market, and once you're seeing all this reloading at the moment, guys, you're seeing so much churny reloading at every single price at the moment in the bund. And the thing is that I'm finding works quite well is once you see this churn at a price such as 15s go bid like we have now, and then we start seeing clips down into it. Notice how the 16s get pulled. Someone trades 100 lots into 15s, and only 34 lots lift 16s. So that tells me there's nothing on the offer right now in terms of people actually wanting to get filled. So 34 lots actually lift 16s, and then 150 lots lift 17s. And then you see how we just churned the 17s, and someone's just clipped 311 lots into 17s, and then you see it, and then aggressively into 18s. And the whole nature of this trade is, guys, that you're going to get people paying down into the bid after selling down here, sort of thing. And then that's what kind of that's kind of what actually helps the move pan out in the sense, and that's why you need to see the two-way trade. You can't be doing what I did down here, and puking in here when it was all when it's just actually accumulating a position rather than actually sort of new initiative shorts into the market. So like I say, remember the price that was churning around here at 15s. I now want it, like we say, I'm happy to see this get tested. I've remembered where this initial churn was, where that initial passive seller was sitting there, reloading. You can almost move your stop to say break even now. So now you're seeing someone, like we had that, someone just absorbed 300 lots into the 15s and instantly left 16s. You see what I mean in terms of understanding how it's all about remembering how it traded at each price, understanding what you saw at that price. If you weren't paying attention in here and you kind of just saw, you looked away for a few minutes and you came back and it's now trading 17s, 15s, you don't understand how it's traded through these prices and how you can then sort of add into this trade as well. So now we're sort of lifting 16s aggressively, pulling the offer at 17s. And as you can see, I'm hovering over the bid, looking to add into this trade aggressively now. I've seen the 15s be tested. I've seen someone lift 17s aggressively now. So 17s, 18s, I'd like to think that I'd lift. I can't remember how I trade this, but you can start lifting 17s, 18s. And you see all this low volume area here, guys, which was the really poorly traded out initial balance. In theory, you should see this kind of just vacuum. It should be traded out very quickly. And you see now I lift aggressively at 17s after seeing someone lift 200 lots at 200 markets. I'm happy to lift aggressively at market. I'm happy to pay up at market. And now, fortunately enough, my average price goes to 15. So that's, and then, like I was saying, that 15s was a really key pivot in the ladder. So you don't really want to see, maybe you start scaling out below 14s, below 13s. If you start getting below this kind of little volume area here. So as long as you, like I say, guys, and then you have the churny price. As long as you kind of, like I say, you remember how someone's absorbing size at 18s, Once you get through him, and then you can start trading above, like we are doing now, and then you can start getting aggressive above then. You want to see that bid be tested once you've cleared out the offer. You want to see that there's actually strength in the passive buyer stepping up at higher prices, because otherwise it just kind of, this could then roll over again and sort of come back down to the lows if it really wanted to at this point. This because this is around the midpoint now where we're trading, so this is like a really key area to be wary of the price action. So notice how any time we down tick, it's small size. It's not aggressive. There's no initiative in the selling right now. And you kind of, another thing is, like I've been saying, you've got to be so patient in these trades at the moment, guys. They don't pay out quickly. It's not an easy trade to hold on to and sit through. So notice how nothing trades 16s, nothing trades 15s. We down tick 16s, down to the 15s. Stop should really be below 15s. I don't know how I trade this in this instance. You see how we down to the 15s again. Nothing really aggressive going through at the market right now. And you're just waiting for that to change again. You had someone really churning the 18s. See how we down tick 14s, and after someone's just clipped big size into the 15s. So like I said, if you then say we get the down tick of the 14s and we get a strong lift into 15s, reload the bid, lift 16s, lift 17s, you can kind of be aggressive through there. So maybe lift 16s, lift 17s. You've just seen someone buy 100 lots at 15s after trading 1 or 2 lots, 200 lots traded at 15s. So now you want to see that, you want to see kind of the rotation again up quickly. So you want to see aggressive lifting at 16s, 17s, 18s. The whole nature of this trade is that you have to kind of let it develop in terms of you're trading in a really low volume environment, you're trading in the middle of the distribution, so you're kind of, this whole trade will be, you'll know if it's going to work or not within, within the kind of 3 tick stop really. I mean, if this trade's going to work, it should just kind of accumulate, and then just kind of grind higher. I mean, this is painful to sit through, don't get me wrong, but once it does get moving, then you can you take advantage of it. And like I'll show you in this ladder in a minute, how we can take advantage after taking out the high. So your stop's now really below 14s after seeing how it traded in here. I shouldn't have really scaled out how I did just then, if I'm being totally honest. And it's just about remembering how, and then we just kind of, because now when it does trade aggressively, you can't lift the 16s. When it lifts this, it just goes 251 lots at market. I mean, if it was just to go 17, 18 bid on itself, then you wouldn't have got filled there. So you're seeing now the churn is 16s again. If we can get through 16s, you want to see the 16s be tested and rotate higher kind of thing. Apologies for how slow this is, guys. I can't actually fast forward on this software, unfortunately. It's on this version of PowerPoint, so let me just give it another minute or two, and hopefully it will play through for you guys. Another thing that kind of I want to, which is important about this whole price side of debrief today is, when you have how important it is to understand the structural play. So for me, what another huge thing that kept me in this trade in the first place, and how patient I was in this chop, was all purely because I understood the structure and understanding the trade. You know what I mean? If I didn't understand what type of price action I want to see, and at what point I was wrong on the trade, then I wouldn't be sitting through it. So that's another thing. So like for me, that was really, you had to be patient, but yes, as long as you understood the whole concept of the trade and as to why you were doing it, then that's another huge thing that keeps you in. Just as much the price action is churny and nasty to sit through. It gives you confirmation in what you're saying. So as you see here, we eventually got to take the high. And just on the video on the right, like I was saying, you guys, I just want to show you how I then trade up towards the previous day's high after taking out. And the main thing being is how I've always got a call position on. So I haven't not been long this whole morning since the Saxony CPI has come out, and this is just how I trade personally, but it's also something that I feel can be really, really helpful when trading such trades like this, because like I was saying, you understand the trading and you know what you're looking for. So we're just taking out the 25s, the open drive high, and I'm wanting to see some sort of kind of price action above this high if we're going to take out the poorly auctioned areas up towards 38s, 39s. So any sort of accumulation above here I'm looking to add aggressively into, and then scale out in a similar kind of fashion I just did on the way up on the previous ladder. So I'm seeing size now trends into 26s. Someone's accumulated 224 lots above this open drive high here at 25. So any kind of clips into 27s I'm going to passively lift, 28s, 29s if I see price action I like as well. So let's just see how this pans out now and how I execute. So you're seeing someone now lifting 150 lots of market after trading 26s, and then you want, like I was talking about earlier, after seeing the churn 27s, you want to see clips down into it, and then the bid be tested, and then you want to see clips into 8s, into 9s. So you're seeing the churn again. Someone's churning at 27s, but I'm happy. You've got a decent average price now. You can start scaling out below this low volume area. And like I said, you want to add aggressively through it. So if we can get kind of pop above into 29s, 30s, and then rotate back into 27s, then I can add again aggressively. So now we've actually tested the 25s. So this is the first time we've tested 25s, and we're seeing small size trade in, and it goes offered. And then so now we test your average price. 154 lots trade into 24s, and you want to see a quick response here. You don't want to start to see price action really slow down and the bid start to be pulled. Whereas now we're seeing actual offers being pulled after trading down into 24s. So like you're saying, you just need to and the whole point of this trade is on having the call position, and the way that I trade personally and adding in and scaling out trades is that you need to be kind of adaptive on the fly. So for me, like, for everyone asking where my stop would be, I'm trying to actually work out where my stop is whilst trading. So I'm seeing someone's reloading the 24s, someone's reloading 24s. So as long I can start to work out my stop as we start to trade down. I mean, if I was to pick a stop, just in terms of looking at the ladder and the structure, then, pardon me, you wouldn't really want to see price below this low volume area here. But as long as you kind of accumulate above 25s, then I'm happy to sit in it. So we've seen someone now lift 173 lots 25s, it goes bid, offer getting pulled slightly, and then someone's trading 303 lots into the 25s. So now that's another thing that I'd like to see again. Then it was those 27s we couldn't get above. Notice the aggressive lift and the accumulation on the bid, and then someone lifts 27s as well. So I've seen 24s kind of be a key pivot, and again my price is now it's now moved up a tick. But the nature of this trade is, if it's going to pan out, we should kind of move quickly and have some sort of momentum through this area. So we can get back above those 27s and test the bid, like I was saying earlier. That's what I want to see. So we've got the guy off the 27s, and we're seeing it now being tested. So we're seeing small clips into 27s, the offer being pulled. We can hopefully start to see some follow through up towards the 36, 37 area. But as you see there, and the thing is, like I was saying earlier in here, which wasn't the best example, is how you see how it just went bid over and it didn't trade. If you'd now be on the bid, sitting on the bid trying to get filled, okay, now you would have got filled. But say in some examples, you got to be, especially when it's trading like it is, it's not really trading our prices sometimes. You kind of have to be aggressive and just know where the pivots are. Don't just start puking prices because it comes back to your average price, just to then see it actually churn and give you some information which you can then use. You know what I mean? Like you saw the churn at 27s. Now we're using it as support. We're sitting above there, and we're accepting value at higher prices. 28s now. I wouldn't really want to see this roll back over, say to 26 or 25. So I'd probably start scaling out.
now we're seeing the absorption above the 27, so this is even more kind of aggressive in terms of price action right now. And it's the same price action as we were trading through really earlier, guys. I mean, it's not nice to sit through, and like you see, that's where it goes bid over again. Just went bid over the 30s. It didn't trade over 29, sorry, and then you wouldn't have got filled if you're trying to play that aggressive right at the extremes of the day's range. But let's just play this for, I'll play this for 2 more minutes, and then we can wrap this up, just so you guys understand the way it trades through. And another thing like I like to see as well, when you start to see all this big size here on the offer, so you start to see all this big size up here on the offer, I like to see it as kind of a target in terms of, you know, especially when it kind of coincides with levels as well. Gives you a good thing to aim for, and it gives you a good understanding of how it actually trades at these prices. So if someone lifts, you know, over 1100 lots at the high of the day, it gives you, or if it just gets spoofed, then it's just, you know, say 200 lots trade and takes out 2 prices, 3 prices, then, you know, across the, say 200 lots trade across all 3 of these prices, then it gives you an insight as to what's actually on the offer. So yeah, other than that, guys, I hope you've got the gist of the video. It's kind of run on a bit longer than I expected, but I just wanted to give you guys a like an understanding of how I trade the kind of structural and fundamental thing in and apply it to price action as well, because I feel it can be really useful at times when there's, you know, you haven't got a clear there isn't an SA sale on an ECB morning or any kind of day like that, when you feel there may not be a clear trade or something you don't really understand, when you can then coincide a few things together and it all starts to click a lot quicker than you'd think. And it's, you know, the whole nature of what I mean by that is this was all really, and why this debrief's gone on so long is because this was really slow, nasty price action at times, and it's just a matter of understanding, you know, you understand the trade, you understand where you're really wrong. So, you know, when we were sitting in here churning 4s, churning 5s, I wasn't really wrong until we started getting down towards these prices. Same in here when we started to buy, when we started buying 12s down here. Like, this was a horrible area to trade, but, you know, after seeing it trade down as we did and come back up into the IB and accumulate, then you're still not wrong on the trade. You have an understanding of what you're looking for, and then it's a matter of just holding on to it and being patient, really, and not being too aggressive towards the extremes. You know, scale on, scale in when you see price action early, and then don't start, you know, paying up in these washbacks here. So when you start, you know, it squeezes up to 27s, 28s, and you get the pullbacks all the way down to 24s, and it's just nasty to sit through, and it's terrible risk reward as well. So other than that, guys, I hope this has been useful. Feel free to contact us via any of our social media platforms. Other than that, guys, I hope we've all had a good evening and this has been useful of some sorts. I'll be back next week with another debrief. I hope you'll have a good evening, guys, and I'll speak to you soon.